okay, this is the guy, this is this closed-minded fellow that's been in charge of gatekeeping all of the knowledge about
And
Egypt.
still standing on the same ideas, even after this LiDAR comes out.
The tomography, whatever it is.
Yeah,
that,
whatever it is.
That stuff's fascinating.
For almost a century, it's been the ultimate what if in archaeology. A whisper passed down through dusty corridors of history, fueled by conspiracy theories, psychic predictions, and just enough archaeological oddities to keep the hope alive. The Hall of Records, supposedly a hidden chamber buried beneath the sands of Giza, holding not gold or jewels, but something far more dangerous to the status quo, the complete unbroken knowledge of an ancient civilization. If you believe the legends, it's the ultimate library: scrolls, maps, star charts, blueprints of technologies that shouldn't exist in the ancient world. A vault of wisdom built to outlive empires, floods, and the slow grind of time. And depending on who you ask, it's either the greatest archaeological treasure yet to be found, or pure fantasy. But in early 2025, a claim dropped that sent Egyptology into a frenzy. Two researchers announced that they had used radar satellites to scan the Khafre Pyramid, the second largest pyramid at Giza, and detected something they described as mysterious cylindrical objects, plunging more than 2,000 feet beneath the structure. That's deeper than most people realize you can even go under a pyramid. The news spread like wildfire. Was this it? The proof the believers had been waiting for? Could the Hall of Records have been under the pyramids this whole time, hiding in plain sight while archaeologists debated over pottery shards and burial masks? It didn't take long for the story to explode beyond archaeology blogs.
Turning to a story that is making headlines around the world, an unprecedented, albeit controversial, new discovery is shedding light on a mystery that dates back millennia, many millennia. Italian and Scottish researchers, mainly from the University of Pisa, conducted advanced high-frequency radar mapping under Egypt's famous pyramids. They claim to have discovered wells, caverns, and shafts that are more than 2,000 feet underground. If accurate, it changes the face of history as we know it.
Headlines screamed about vast ancient meccas hidden under Giza. Social media lit up with theories connecting the find to lost civilizations, Atlantis, even alien intervention. After all, the Hall of Records isn't just an archaeological myth. It's a pop culture icon, name dropped in everything from New Age spiritual circles to Hollywood adventure movies. If the claim was true, it wouldn't just change history textbooks. It would rewrite humanity's origin story. The trouble is, science doesn't move on hype alone, and the experts weren't impressed. Dr. Roland Enmarch, a respected Egyptologist from the University of Liverpool, didn't mince words when asked about the claims. Makes for great science fiction, he said flatly, but it is most definitely not science fact. His position was simple: you believe something exists when the balance of credible evidence points to it existing. That's not the case here, and it never has been. For many Egyptologists, the Hall of Records sits in the same category as Atlantis.
An Egyptologist and author of the book, The Messiah Code.
So what they discovered, basically, they sent some pictures coming from the satellite from space, looking at the surface underground, the main pyramid of Giza, the pyramid of the king, the pharaoh Khufu. Now, we know back till now that this pyramid, was dated to 2600 BC. And what the archaeologists wanted to discover is we have something beneath the soil, beneath the ground of this pyramid. So with a technology that I cannot explain because I'm not specializing in this kind of technology, they managed to get some data from the infrastructure that is beneath the soil, beneath the ground. And what they discover
A gripping story, but with no hard evidence. Dr. Nicholas Brown from Yale University was even more blunt. There's certainly no evidence of the Hall of Records from ancient Egypt, and it's linked to Atlantis, which also doesn't have any hard evidence of being true. To him, it's not that the myth is malicious, it's just distracting. Every year, legitimate digs are overshadowed by wild claims that fall apart under scrutiny. And scrutiny was exactly what happened next. Dr. Melanie Pitkin from the University of Sydney dismantled the radar satellite announcement, pointing out that there's zero archaeological, artistic, or literary evidence from ancient Egypt to even suggest the Hall of Records existed. She also noted a glaring problem. The research had never been published in a peer-reviewed scientific journal. Without that process, where other experts check your work, the claim was just a flashy headline with no backbone. Then the real cracks began to show. The two men behind the discovery, Corrado Malanga and Filippo Biondi, were linked to fringe theories and ufology. Malanga had appeared on YouTube talking about aliens, while Biondi's academic connections turned out to be outdated or overstated. Egypt's former Minister of Antiquities, Dr. Zahi Hawass, didn't hold back either, calling it fake news from a group of amateurs and clarifying that the Egyptian authorities had given no one permission to work inside or outside the Khafre pyramid. Hawass also pointed out a technical flaw. The technique they claimed to have used couldn't have produced the results they were showing. So if this wasn't the Hall of Records, does it exist at all? Here's where things get messy. The idea didn't start with any ancient Egyptian text or artifact. It started with Edgar Cayce, an American psychic in the 1930s. Cayce claimed that survivors from Atlantis built the Hall of Records at Giza to safeguard their knowledge after their continent sank around 10,500 BC. According to him, there were 3 repositories, one in the Bahamas, one in the Yucatan Peninsula, and one somewhere between the Sphinx and the Nile River, with its entrance near the Sphinx's right paw. His predictions got tied up with other fringe theories, like the Orion correlation theory, which links the layout of Giza's pyramids to the stars, and the Sphinx water erosion hypothesis, which suggests it's far older than mainstream archaeology believes. Over time, these ideas got amplified by popular authors like Graham Hancock and documentaries like The Mystery of the Sphinx. Suddenly, the Hall of Records wasn't just a psychic's vision. It was part of a larger tapestry of hidden history that suggested an advanced civilization existed before Egypt, influencing its architecture, astronomy, and mythology. And every time someone found an unexplained tunnel or cavity under Giza, the legend got a little more oxygen. Mainstream science has investigated. In the late 1970s and 1990s, teams used ground-penetrating radar and seismic surveys to check for voids beneath the Sphinx. They did find anomalies, spaces that might be natural fissures or man-made chambers. But when test drilling was allowed, they turned out to be natural cavities, not secret libraries. By 1999, even the heavily hyped water shaft west of the Sphinx, once rumored to connect to the Hall of Records, was fully explored and found to be an empty late period tomb. That's the frustrating thing. The more archaeologists look, the less there seems to be. No papyrus scrolls, no Atlantean technology, no room lined with crystal tablets, just solid rock, sand, and the remains we already know about. And yet, the idea refuses to die. Part of that is human nature. We love the thought that there's still something out there waiting to be found, something that would upend the official story. And part of it is that Giza still holds mysteries. Muon scans in recent years have revealed unexplained voids inside the Great Pyramid itself, including a massive cavity above the Grand Gallery. Even if it's just a structural feature, its existence proves we haven't mapped everything yet. So here's the truth. The Hall of Records, as Cayce described it, almost certainly doesn't exist. There's no credible evidence for it in any ancient record, and every physical investigation has come up empty. But the concept that somewhere under the Giza plateau there could be a sealed chamber with forgotten knowledge is still alive in the public imagination. And as long as new scanning technology keeps revealing unexplained spaces, the line between myth and maybe will stay blurry enough for the legend to survive. In the end, the Hall of Records is less about what's physically under the sand and more about what's in our heads. It's about the hope that we haven't yet learned everything there is to know about our past. That somewhere, in a place we've walked past 1,000 times, a door is still waiting to be opened. And when it is, the world will never look the same again.